Hello, hello, hello. All right, cool. We got audio. All right, I am back in the house for the night. So we're gonna go over some experiencer posts on Reddit. There's a lot of interesting stuff on here, and we're gonna have some fun. So here we go. All right. NHI encounter during remote viewing. Meditative. NHI encounter method. Remote viewing during meditation. Audio. Crystal Lake guided. Time July 23rd, 2 p.m. Okay, it's the 26th. That's 3 days ago. See, the being wasn't looking at me when my awareness was projected to its location. I don't think it was aware I could see it. There was other beings there. It was focused on that I didn't see. The energy I picked up from the being suggested it was embarrassed and flustered by something the other beings it was looking at were doing. The being was also seemed frustrated despite smiling. I was only able to hold the vision for several seconds before it was gone. Huh. Okay. Cool. Um, I I think remote viewing is super interesting. I don't have any training in remote viewing. I would love to learn. Um, but I do have I when I close my eyes, when I meditate, I see a lot of weird stuff. I'll just leave it at that. I get me unless that is remote viewing, who knows? But I have no idea what it is I'm seeing. But okay. Only time I've ever seen anything like that is like I like in the middle of the night, like I almost had like a DMT like trip in the middle of like my sleep. It was weird. I was having really weird sleep cycles and yeah. Anyways, that's very interesting. There is no eternal damnation for anyone, no matter how dark they lives. Oh, okay, this is interesting. The universe facilitates it. I have just as much trouble as the next person with the next extent of darkness that has infiltrated our world, our Earth. I have interacted with the astral planes all around us a lot of the lifetime, and my being is undoubtedly helping clear the deeply entrenched shadows here. Okay. First, walking clairvoyance experience while in meditative state. The fuck? Okay. Yesterday afternoon, July 25th. I was just trying to rest. I thought I might nap, but instead of sleeping, my third eye activated, and I started seeing swirling violet light. That's fun. Okay, I see that stuff. That's something like I see. Then the Mandela patterns formed. They were moving almost like portals, and human faces began flashing through them. Okay. Then I saw two bearded men standing on a stage. That's super specific, but okay. I like it. There were curtains in the background, bright lights. It felt like a political event, maybe an election. I didn't recognize the men. I felt like it was just watching something unfold. I knew it wasn't a dream. I was fully awake. I didn't think it was from my guys because it didn't feel personal. It felt like it came straight from the collective consciousness field. That's the only way I can describe it. It wasn't about me. It was like I tuned into something bigger. Okay? Yeah, see this, it's very hard to describe what this person did a very good job. I can't describe it. Okay, fast forward to today, July 26th, around 12:22. I was just watching a YouTube video on the collective update for the rest of summer by a psychic medium who lives in upstate New York. Suddenly, click, I recognize one of the faces from my vision. Zoran Mamdani, the guy who just won the New York City. I have been following the race. Just a quick interesting see who's Monday. Okay. Maybe future deputy mayor again later. Smiling like it's funny. I feel like Field was saying this is what's coming. Literally felt shaking in my heart center when the realization landed a resonance. Started getting these third eye activations and clairvoyant flashes. Okay, that's familiar. This is the first time I received a vision while fully awake. Okay. That's very interesting. See, fully awake. See, when I had, in my experience, yeah, it's like, it's weird sleep cycles. Yeah. You can have these crazy visions in the middle of your sleep, and then sometimes you can do it while you're awake. You can like teach yourself to basically sleep but be awake at the same time. It's weird. It's cool. All right. Down flashes, dreams or visions. Maybe you're doubting yourself. Maybe you feel like you're no one special too, but something's definitely shifting, and some of us are starting to pick up on it. If that's you, you're not alone. Absolutely. Absolutely. Freaking lutely. Lutely. Yeah. All right. Let's keep going. Uh, Here we go. I become very acutely aware of when a negative entity is influencing my thoughts or mine now. It's pretty cool. Here, let me show you how. Become aware of your mind. Know when outside interference is coming in. Okay. Be aware of your mind. Know when outside interference is coming in. Okay. I think I know this person's trying to pick up what I'm putting down. Let's assume for a moment, since we are on the sub already, that thoughts and feelings are tangible objects. That it's all real. We know they are. Which feelings belong to you? Which thoughts? Can you tell when something is causing a disturbances? Who? Notice when you directly fight, you end up in greater struggle. It's like whatever that is. With your thoughts, it can manifest stuff like tools, and the characters can use them. Imagine this: who is making you feel bad? Your higher self or just negative entities who want to make you feel afraid? For example, let me eat this beautiful chocolate cake this morning. Now I feel bad. I feel shame. I feel gross and disgusting. But now let's eat that same chocolate cake during time I feel nice. Nobody is harmed. It's nothing more than the same edible chocolate cake. Better yet, it's a magical day where you won't even gain the calories that amount of cake you can eat. Next day arrives, a leftover cake. You just wake up and you feel a bit more lazy than usual. But you also want to taste a little snack. You grab the cake the next morning from the fridge and you eat it. Again, it's a magical cake. You went you won't gain calories from it. Then suddenly shame, guilt, and you feel gross. Okay. Okay. So what? Okay. You're only making this into a gateway to end your night. You should be. Everyone's going to judge you. You're a healthy creature. The more you would directly debate it, the more it grows and distorts your mind. So what negative entities will do are to pull on any mental weaknesses that haven't been given love or understanding and try to further open the wound until gaping blood for the distortions come out. Let us, just me, I don't know why I say us. Make another example. Drugs. Let's say you're a recovering drug addict. Let's also say you believe in a spiritual figure or something you look up to. Let's say you go out for a cigarette or something addictive, right? How will this figure think? They can see me. They know I'm smoking a cigarette when I'm trying to quit. I'm so gross. I'm a fool. I'm disgusting. Let's say you stop. Well, sure, maybe the shame gets so big that you throw the whole pack away. But how about this instead? Introducing an all new healing and compassion method, where instead of guilt and shame, you go down your wound and try to understand it. Yes, yes. Some will. Ken, that's my roommate. I think he's playing like Overwatch or something. Okay, where was I? Where instead of guilt and shame. Okay, actually, I need to check something real quick. Uh, do you have new? Do you have guys or NHA you have permanent contact with? Oh wow. I'm not sure. I am not sure. Um, I I don't know if they're permanent. I can't say if they're permanent or not. Um, I'm not sure. I don't know. I think there's both. I think there's both. Um, I think there's probably some permanent ones, and I think there's some not permanent ones that I've seen. Um, but yeah, I'm still trying to understand and figure it out. All right, well, I guess this person asked a question and then left. I was obviously doing something. Sorry. I would have loved to answer your question. That really makes me sad. Okay. Or instead of guilt and shame, you go down a wound and try, okay, understand it. Some will say, oh, you're just trying to justify make excuses for your addiction or guilty pleasure of eating cake. And to that you say, fuck yeah, I am, because you're trying to give yourself more love and compassion. You see, true benevolence does not shame you. Certain religious figures will tell you, oh, the Lord will shame you, but that's not love. I'll tell you what love is: acceptance. Okay, love the ability to accept yourself and the situation you're in without accepting the fact that you are at sea. How else will you dare set sail to nicer waters? Compassion. Screw anyone who uses the phrase "you're making excuses." Just okay. Okay, and three, integration. Integrate everything you do into your understanding. You may have an addiction, but if you know why, you can work with it. Don't let things like shame get in your way. Just pondering about the whole Chris Bledsoe thing. He said one entity told him, if you don't share this story, there will be bloodshed. Okay. Or something around that. And I interpret that as an awful thing to say to an old man. Now, obviously, Bledsoe can be interacting with both positive or negative NHI, but man, this Bledsoe is a great opportunity also for negative NHI to also come in and distort and jumble up any messaging. That is so true. Every message that has to do with fear and warning is always going to be false. I had a prophetic dream of massive T-word attacks occurring last month. Then I read about sleeper agents the whole next morning. But as you can see, nothing has happened. But there were no bad men doing boom booms, or no who maybe. There's a timeline guardian team stopping secret timelines from happening. Okay, let's give you another. Okay, this is okay. This is okay. Hello. Okay. All right. All right. We'll just do this. All right. Message that has to do with fear and warning is always going to be false. I had a prophetic dream. Okay. It is only in this negative state that your mind becomes weak to influence. Now you're agitated, you feel annoyed, and now your mind is ripe for negative influence depending on how much you give in. Cover up a little bit. Sorry. I bring up all this to bring out environment awareness, which has to do with the major energy center of the metaphysical body. People bring it up the seven chakras, but the first three are critical. Red chakra, grounding, physical environment, safety, survival. The red ray chakra has to do with the physics or the feeling I am. Okay, he said physics. Okay. Or the feeling I am safe, I feel okay, there's nothing wrong. That's why the ruling class loved making a monopoly on houses of D cars and highways. All that American dream crap and turning this country into a giant strip mall and ended up making this place an actual hellscape. So give yourself a sacred space, a room, a tent, anything warm and toasty. Okay? Okay. Orange chakra. I said it with awareness of the environment around you, like bugs in a colony, deer in the forest, a whale in the sea, or social structures. It has to do a lot. It has to do with social systems, social awareness, social environments. A lot to do with dynamics and harmony. The deer knows its place. where it fits in and what it does. The well is well, what waters are warm, what seas are safe. Even you at a party, who's the loud guy? Who's the drunk? Who's the quiet group? Who's the chill guys? That's why its star seeds feel so out of place here. We are not used to this environment or social structure. Here, let's just say it's illegal to sleep outside. You understand it makes people uncomfortable, but on your home planet, everyone has a house already, so making something like this illegal is such a non-problem. On your home planet, everyone else has an aligned consciousness to compassion that there's no police and no laws and no government. You mostly spend your time alone anyways. But that's one thing. The social structure on Earth is alien to you. Networking is a method humans here use where they use people to connect to people who can land them in positions of power, jobs, careers. Oh my God, dude. That's crazy. Because, like, I'm super into, like, how the occult, um, basically runs at the center of everything. UFOs, end of the world, all this stuff. Um, dude, yeah, everyone uses each other until they get further ahead in life. Finally, the solar plexus, the yellow ray chakra that deals in personal power and confidence and eternal strength. In an unbalanced state, it can manifest as either being really submissive, oh geez, I'm a loser, or super highly aggressive, raw, I'm a big man, look at me, so loud and drunk, real macho man. I drive unnecessarily larger F-150 with huge tires, take up all the space. Unbalanced, you understand yourself. You accept and understand yourself. It's a healthy balance of not needing outside approval from anyone else. Okay. So the yellow ray, I got that one down. I got that one down. The orange one, yeah, I think I got the orange one because I can definitely feel my environment around me. Yeah. The red chalk, grounding, physical environment, safety. So I am safe. I feel okay. There's nothing wrong. I don't really get what that means. But everyone having a home on this planet versus bickering about people trying to rest somewhere, even if it's public, off to the side. Okay, what makes me want to rip people's heads off and hold them high in the air and drink their dropping blood for everyone to see? Because I get that a lot lately. What the F? Thank you. This is a wonderful. We're, if we're attacked by negative entities in life, does it mean you'll be attacked in the afterlife? Okay, I feel like replying to this guy. That's a really good question. Hmm. Okay, whatever. It's so weird. Twitch is darker than YouTube. Okay. Or attacked by negative energies in life, does it mean okay? Can we use meditation and affirmation to balance them too? Everything is made of thoughts and energy and feelings, so yeah. I say it slowly, either in my head or out loud, really acknowledging each part. I am safe. Peace. I am calm. I am present. Our consciousness giving orders to our physical body, or physical giving orders for our physical reality. The mantras are our consciousness giving orders to an override for when we get hijacked out of harmonic flow state. Oh wow. See, these guys are all like super like, you know what I mean? Everyone's chill, you know? Like super nice and like loving, you know? Regarding something an inside friend called see visions, feel emotions. Don't know if the world would be described as spiritually active person, but I hope you know what I mean. As I was lying on my bed, I saw an energy friend flying over me while calling, born by lightning, raised by storm. This felt very much like a title and felt respectful to me, no matter how weird that might sound. I felt very honored to have heard that, which I still am. Born by lightning. My own interpretation would say that I am born by my spiritual awakening, which felt like lightning reconnected me to the universal mind. Raised by storm. The storm is what I've been puzzled about the most. You're gonna ooh. These guys are cool. All right, let's check out uh UFO swarm, huh? See, this is what I was saying. Like, if you pay attention to like normal, like man-made objects in the sky, sometimes you'll see uh other things come and investigate it or in the area. It's weird. Um, yeah, I've seen it happen myself a few times. Okay. Look at this. What the? That looks like a comet passing by Earth. That's what that looks like. Oh, here we go. Okay, here we go. Yeah, dude. Oh no. My my headset just died. Yeah, dude. I seen them out here in Oregon manifest at the tree tops. Okay, now we're gonna go to Facebook. Um, all right, groups. Do a local group. Yep. Okay. All right. Right. We're just one Epstein story away from Trump announcing that UFOs are real. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Okay. Um, Y files. Yeah, AJ's badass. What is this about? Looking at me, sure, in my back here, I saw this flying. I just stopped for a minute. We're moving on. I would say that you have noticed something amazing. Hey, what's up? So, yep, I'm just going over the Reddit community when it comes to UFO sightings and experiences. Strain lights over Sharp, July 25th. Let's see. Oh, oh, could be Starlink. Depends. Ooh, look at this picture. That's really cool. What, dude, I want to go there. That looks amazing. Um, Now I'm imagining if this is if it, I'd like to know if it was a long exposure or a quick snapshot because then we'd know if they were moving or they're sitting still. But yeah, cool spot, man. This has to be this has to have been compromised or intentionally stalled for manipulation. At this point, someone just leaked the film. What the okay, whatever. Deeper look at alien gray footage and the disinfo weak punks that attack it and Paul. This week's UAP clip. Pull. The web analyze and Skinwalker Ranch, latest episode of 8, season 6 analyze. The Wilson Davis memo. Yeah, what's this?
Everybody in the UFO community already knows of the famous Wilson Davis memo that was leaked after Edgar Mitchell
What the
passed away
heck?
in 2016. The memo was discovered among his personal papers. A friend of Mitchell's
What
nephew,
the
Australian researcher James Rigney, obtained it and shared it.
Okay, how is this guy posting dude, whenever I try to put my videos up that I make about this kind of stuff, dude, they get taken down instantly.
With Grant Cameron in 2018. Cameron then gave it to Chase Williams, who publicly released it online in April 2019. Dr. Eric Davis later confirmed the memo came from Mitchell's estate. Although a few years ago, Dr. Eric Davis denied the memo, confirmed it years later. So I wanted to share a summary of this memo because it's a pretty long read by itself, and most interviews are hours long. Even Richard Dolan's video is around 5 hours long, so I just wanted a shortened version of this. This summary is made by somebody on Reddit, so credit to them. I just wanted to share it more, even though it's kind of old news. So let's dive deep into the past Wilson Davis memo. Eric Davis met with Admiral Wilson in 2002. Davis had been trying to find some information on a UFO crash retrieval program. He had been advised by Will Miller to talk to Wilson about this, and Oak Shannon and Miller encouraged Wilson to talk to him too, because he wasn't interested in fame or publicity and was just trustworthy. Quote, tell Eric what you told me, end quote. In the meeting with Davis, Admiral Wilson related that in April 1997, he had met with Will Miller, Edgar Mitchell, and Stephen Greer, who had been searching for information on and privately discussing UFOs with government and military officials. Afterward, Wilson and Miller spoke privately. Miller asked about crash retrieval programs, where they might be and who had access to them. Wilson was intrigued because he had heard about the US and foreign government encounters, and he spent the next 45 days talking to people and doing a search. He was advised by Secretary of Defense Bill Perry and Major General Marshall Ward, who was the director of special programs, to go through the files, like an index system, of the Office of Undersecretary of Defense of Acquisition and Technology. They said to look into special projects record groups not belonging
Oh,
to usual SAPs, a subject of unacknowledged groups not belonging to usual SAPs, a subject of unacknowledged SAPs. Paul Kamansky and Michael Kost oversaw these programs. So Wilson had found the group that might run the program he was looking for. He then read into the quote index abstracts
okay,
end
we're
quote,
good.
and found a few programs to look into.
We're still
Wilson
good.
called 7
Okay.
program managers. 3 managers said they weren't the right program he was looking for, and all of them referred to the same program by these 3 people: a secretary, a security director, former NSA, a program director, and a corporate attorney. Wilson told Davis that the SAP compartment, codename, and contractor for a government agency that oversaw the program were all, quote, core secrets, end quote. He said it was managed by a top 3 defense contractor. And the rumors have it that he is talking about Lockheed Martin, the most rumored contractor to hold non-human material, craft, and or biologics.
We're trying to figure out how these rather large craft, which people call triangles, would be able to disappear on a dime. So when we were set up looking at these triangles, when they decloaked and they recloaked, we didn't see anything like that. What we really saw was it appeared to be that these triangles were taking whatever was, an example would be whatever was behind them and actually projecting it in front of them, which might be equivalent to taking their light rays and bending it around the actual triangle. And so our conclusion, they were doing something along those lines. They were probably doing it with a lot less energy. But some of the conditions we observed them on was a lot of times where they were observing behind them would be a little different than what we would be observing. So what they would do is we would assume would be projecting what's behind them in front of them, but it really wouldn't be quite what we would be seeing. And then we had an idea that we could probably track these triangles because their cloak or whatever they're using to bend the light around them was never going to be exactly the same. So some of that work that I was doing with NGOs was really exciting. But one of the other things that comes out of this is these individuals or whoever this group is that has this advanced technology probably does not want us to reverse engineer what they're working on. So they're probably using their methods or their technologies to try to keep us from doing things like reverse engineering or exploring how they work, just because of the fact that gives them an advantage over us.
Wilson called the program director 3 times and spoke with him, the secretary director, and the corporate attorney. They were surprised and negated that he was looking for them and confused about what he wanted from them or to know about. He told them he had read their program record at the OUS DAT Special Program Records Group and wanted to know about the Crash UFO program, what their role was, and what they had. He also asked if they had heard of MJ-12 or another codename organization related to Crash UFO craft. They said yes. They asked Wilson who he had talked to before he had called, and they weren't happy with his answer and whose those 4 program managers were who had referred to him to them. Wilson demanded a formal briefing and tour. He had regulatory oversight as deputy director of DIA.
You guys
and
want to
assistant
keep
JCOC.
watching this, or you want to keep?
They agreed to an in-person meeting. Wilson flew out to.
Or do you want to keep going through the Reddits? Say something in the chat. I'm gonna keep playing it, but let me know.
Managers, secretary director, program director, and corporate attorney at a conference room in their secure vault. They called themselves the, quote, watch committee, end quote, or the gatekeepers. They said they had formed out of necessity to protect themselves after a near disaster in the past had almost blown their cover. An audit investigation had led to them, and they were nearly outed, which was exactly what they were trying to avoid. A back and forth with the investigator and his Pentagon chief over program transparency and chewed money was the original issue, but their hiding out became the other issue. They threatened to blow the program's cover, so the managers backed down and let the investigators in to complete his job. The investigator was officially briefed, given a tour, and shown their program. After that incident, the program manager reached a formal agreement with the Special Access Program Oversight Committee to prevent that from happening in the future. The agreement established extremely strict criteria for the circumstances under which anyone could get access in the future. The contractor committee, the program director, security director, and attorney set the criteria. No U.S. government officials could gain access unless they met those criteria. They refused to tell Wilson what the criteria were. He was angry because of the implications that operated without any official oversight or any justification. They let Wilson know the purpose of the meeting was that they were again concerned about exposure and asked for all of his phone, fax, and email records to see who he had talked to at the Pentagon and elsewhere. They refused to give him access. He had sufficient security clearance, but not the need to know, so he wasn't on the bigot list, the list of all people who had been granted access to the program. They wouldn't accept Wilson's argument that they fell under his statutory oversight and regulatory authority as a deputy director of the DIA. In any other situation, the deputy director has the right to the need to know for all SAPs. They said that his regulatory and oversight authority was not pertinent to the nature of their program. They showed him the, quote, bigot list, end quote, of individuals who had been run into the program. The list included a lot of contractor employees, mostly scientists, engineers, and managers. Wilson didn't recognize any military personnel, and there was no president and no one from Congress. A few of them were from the Pentagon, though, a few from Austat, someone from another department, and someone at the NSC. The program managers said they weren't a weapons, intelligence, or special ops program. Wilson asked what they were then. The attorney and security director said it was okay to brief Wilson to tell them what they were, a reverse engineering program for something that had been recovered years before. Wilson asked if they were reverse engineering Soviet or Chinese technology, but they said they weren't doing that either. The program manager said they had a craft that they believed could fly. Wilson asked if it was from overseas, and they said no. They said they didn't know where it was from, although they did have some ideas, but knew it was not from this earth and not made by humans. They were trying to understand and exploit that technology, but the program had been going on for years and years with very slow progress due to the lack of collaboration between different people, lack
Right.
of outside experts. And
Yeah, that's the big problem with special access programs, man. No one knows what each other's doing, and science just can't work that way. So it's yeah.
they were very, very isolated and had to use their own facilities and only cleared personnel. The bigot list contained about 400 to 800 individuals who had been given access to the program since its beginning, varying over time with funding
Since
and
its
personnel
beginning,
changes.
since its beginning, up to 400 people. That's not that many.
When asked about some of the
That's really
questions he had
not
discussed with the
for
Millers,
something
including Roswell
that
craft,
crazy.
bodies and autopsies, the Hallman Air Force Base landing, MJ-12,
Oh no.
everybody in the U.S. and found a few programs. He said it was
We didn't see anything like that. What we really saw was
confused about what he wanted from them, and they weren't happy with his answer and his briefing and tour. He had regulatory oversight before he had them, what their role was and what they had. He also asked if they had heard of him record at the OUSD prize and negated that he was looking for them and confused about what he wanted. The list of all people who had been granted access to the program. They wouldn't accept Wilson's argument that they fell under his statutory oversight
Whatever.
and regulatory authority as a deputy director of the DIA. In any other situation, the deputy director has the right to the need to know for all SAPs. They said that his regulatory and oversight authority was not pertinent to the nature of their program. They showed him the quote bigot list unquote of individuals who had been run into the program.
Okay, there we
The
go.
list included a lot of contractor employees, mostly scientists, engineers, and managers. Wilson didn't recognize any military personnel, and there was no president and no one from Congress. A few of them were from the Pentagon, though, a few from Austat, someone from another department, and someone at the NSC.
Okay.
Harvard years before. Wilson asked if they were reverse engineering Soviet or Chinese technology, but they said they weren't some ideas,
There we go.
but knew it was not from this earth and not made by humans. They were trying to understand and exploit that technology, but the program had been going on for years and years with very slow progress due to the lack of collaboration between different people, lack of outside experts, and they were very, very isolated and had to use their own facilities and only cleared personnel. The bigot list contained about 400 to 800 individuals.
Mother,
But not exactly classified.
I can't believe I just did that. That's so
Also
embarrassing.
made an appearance on the Jesse Michaels YouTube channel, which is interesting because he did just for his notes and his own personal research, otherwise known as the Watch Committee. Eric Davis asked Wilson if he'd talk to Hal Puthoff and Kit Green, but Wilson said he'd prefer not to talk about it again and risk exposure. Davis said he wouldn't repeat anything he was told and that he would use it just for his notes and his own personal research to help assert signal and noise in the media and from government sources. Dr. Eric Davis a few months ago also made an appearance on the Jesse Michaels YouTube channel, which is
Right.
interesting because he joined in with a couple of others such as UAP Gerb and a few others that I'm not sure about. But in the interview he spoke about legacy UAP programs, crash retrieval programs, and he talked about what he knew in the classified realm, but not exactly classified because he had to say at an unclassified level. But there's some definitely interesting moments that he definitely spoke about, like George Bush knowing about UAPs and the crash retrieval program, but not because he was president, because of him being appointed to CIA director. And it's because most presidents...
That was his dad. That wasn't the junior. Just to be clear.
If not all presidents, do not get right into the program.
No.
They need to have a need to know. And George Bush did as a CIA director back in the day. Dr. Eric Davis also participated in a public congressional event hosted by the UAP Disclosure Fund. And this was a UAP Science and Technology panel, and where various scientists such as Avi Loeb, Tim Gaudet, Dr. Eric Davis were part of this congressional effort to lead UAPs. This wasn't a UAP hearing, but it was still pretty important to the issue. Davis discusses the so-called metamaterials by non-human intelligence and why they are exotic in origin. And he also explains his time researching the UAP crash retrieval program.
Yeah.
And he even mentions that the term UAP was
Okay.
used back in the day and wasn't discovered by Jay Stratton. Even though Jay Stratton did coin the term anomalous phenomena, I still think unidentified aerial phenomena was used back in the day, like late 40s or something like that. So which is actually pretty interesting. And he also recently joined the UAP Disclosure Fund. That was right after the UAP panel held by the Disclosure Fund.
Okay.
Received documents.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that whole thing is super interesting. Yeah. I just love this stuff so much. Missing time with aliens, 12 astonishing cases. Kind of up to date on most cases. Could this be a flying sphere? This is looks like a Google or a GPS or something. What? Why are the arrows? But yeah, I mean it does. It looks like a metallic ore. What? Alien from the Virginia crash. The fuck? No way. No fucking way, dude. 4 minutes. Oh shit. I don't know, man. I don't know. Oh, what the? Let me see what people are saying. Let's see what people are saying. Ain't nobody gonna believe this, and that's fine. But I swear to God, I and my sister saw these fuckers in Lancashire, UK, in 1989. Scared the shit out of us. We were kids at the time, just staring at us. No shit, dude. The story we lived on Christmas. Kind of where farmland becomes a city. We had no curtains on our bedroom window. I have absolutely no idea why not. And they were staring in the window at us. My sister saw them first and screamed, and being that we were both young kids, we hid under our covers. I don't remember anything else until the following day, really, and my sister and I only spoke about it sparingly over our lives. But we were both are adamant about what we saw in our remembrances, and it was those orange-brown fuckers with the glowing red eyes and ridged heads. Bro. Oh, this guy's like, oh, that's where I live, huh? Before they dug up that whole bit for the motorway junction, did have some weird shit happen in that place. Craig wrote at the time for me, the bedroom window would have been looking basically toward Ridge Farm direction. That stretch of farmland is the same area where I lived. I wonder if it was the same farm. It ran right up to the golf course. Our bungalow was on the other side, though, up a short driveway next to Canton Road. next to the farmhouse and otherwise isolated from other buildings except the landowner's house opposite across a small field. Dude. Okay. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. It's not about trying to hit those. Trying to remember more. I have I've immigrated. I'm not sure there's anything in German for that kind of thing. As parapolitics accusation, they're playing weirdo hypnosis in Germany. Hell yeah. Nothing to gain from sharing. Okay. They all stood by their story, completely described how they wish it had never happened because it all brought them as ridicule and shame. Yeah. The way they described the creature reeking of ammonia with big red eyes and rubbery, oily skin that seemed to be sweating, showing clear signs of distress, is very consistent with a life form that is silicon based. Ammonia solvent organism versus our carbon based water solvent, which evolved on a cold, dark planet. If that was the case, then these creatures were dying excruciating deaths, all being exposed to our inhospitable atmosphere and intense UV rays. Pretty gnarly. Plus, many residents described seeing flying discs that, in their interpretation, appear to be looking for something, possibly doing a search and rescue mission. Dang. That's right. I remember that. I remember hearing about that. This guy knows his shit. That's three people watching. Woo woo. How y'all doing, man? You guys enjoying the stream or what? You guys like this kind of content? I'd love to know more. Or more weekly entangled in our Wait, wait. Many witnesses who have had interaction with insight or crafts describe features that seem to suggest that those entities are more weakly entangled with our reality and perhaps come from other dimensions or timelines and whatnot. This seems like it could be very well extraterrestrial species from somewhere in our galaxy or somewhere in this physical universe where who were here for whatever reason but fully fucked up that day. Total speculation. I could be completely off the mark, but after watching Moment of Contact, I really got the sense that something real happened that day. Exact feeling I got from the aerial school incident witness in their interviews as children and later in life as adults. Nothing to gain from the fabricating their stories and coming across so authentic and shaken by their experiences. When James Fox himself was asked on that UFO podcast what he considers the most convincing evidence he's encountered in his career as a UAP investigator, he cited the witness testimony from those two who were present at Virginia. Wild stuff. Dude, you nailed it. Nailed that. Alright, let's see. Why would anybody believe it? I always read nobody believes little movies because who cuts after 10 seconds? And that's not the case here. Nope. Then they live in the state where Virginia located during it. I had a couple thoughts while watching the video. Where the fuck is the audio? It would be add a great deal of validity if I could hear what the videographer is saying, his accent, demeanor, etc. While vocal vegetation checks out, the video does not match accounts where bodies being found were captured. The body does look exactly like the descriptions and drawings made by the witness, almost too perfectly. Yeah, yeah, I mean, how convenient is that camera? Except the closer it gets to the being. Yeah, no shit. Thank you for your contribution. What's your guy feeling about this then? Fuck off, I know, haha, part of me wants to believe it, bad, but this video gave me goosebumps all over, as this entire series of events was extremely memorable and sensational event in my childhood. I too very much wanted to believe this, as an experiencer has seen a grasp of the force field around it operating in broad daylight in Hollywood, California, two other witnesses. I'm fairly good at judging distance, sizes, etc. I suspect the alien in this video is no more than 12 inches long or 30 centimeters. I believe it is likely closer to 8 inches, but I can't be 100% certain. Was the Virginia creature not supposed to be like 3 feet tall or something? He was supposed to be about 3 feet. The thing in the video may be a bit longer since he is tucked in. I'm jealous you got to see that. I would have loved to get my eyes on this tech while in action. Alright. Could the body not be putting out some electromagnetic filters and someone nearby type interfering with the camera when you get close to it? Just a thought. Radiation does it. Yeah. Yeah, his legs are tucked and very much resembles the pose and description made by the three girls. It does. It looks like exactly like it. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, dude. Funny. I scratched my ass as an ass scratching. Okay. I don't care. Top of that, we get off a video recording being played on a TV instead of a direct copy of the video. Kind of suspicious. I'd say the opposite. If it's classified in some way, this would make more sense than getting the original file. If you worked on something classified and wanted to leak it, you would film it or take a picture of the screen when you're viewing it rather than trying to smuggle the actual file. That is true. That is so true. It also happens to be a great hoax or trick for covering up a shoddy workmanship by reducing the quality of the posted video. That's true too. I don't think that's something hoaxers usually do. Do you have an example? Okay. What should I say? What should I say? You guys want to get in on this? Or should we just keep going? Come on, man. I need you guys to talk. Use the chat. I know you guys are watching me. Sorry. I know you guys are watching me on YouTube. Come on. Tell me. Let me know. You guys are like putting me on the spot right here. How can you think this is faked? Why, this is right there, the Swamp Thing in terms of quality, not the new one, the original ones. Why had the thing over 30 for the public to see? That's how long it took for the person that made it to release it, or someone or something kept suppressed. Yeah, Yeah, the interference effects exactly match up with some editing software. It's fake. And, dude, yeah, I kind of have to agree with that. And it just looks too similar, like the positioning. Alright, alright, let's go back. Maybe something. Huh. What to consider? I want to get a nice picture of the storm front. Yeah. That actually looks like it's. I don't know. Here we go. Yeah, it looks like it has a stream going right there. Alien craft photographed by NASA and presented by Robert Dean.
They did. So let me tell you a couple of things that they did
There.
you may not have ever heard about before. They took the two pictures
360p. Oh, I'm sorry. This is terrible, but okay. I'm watching it.
golly gee, isn't this great? Isn't this neat?
This must be old VHS stuff. Oh, Robert Dean. Yeah. Yeah, this is old. Yeah, I don't think he's alive anymore.
Many of us in the United States say stands for never a
Yeah, this guy worked in the U.S. Army intelligence in like Germany and shit.
40 rolls of film of the Apollo program.
Okay.
Just right
Let's just
in the nose.
let's just get to the good stuff.
In orbit around the moon, as many of you I'm sure you know.
Okay.
This object flew by. There's the moon in the background, of course, the Earth-shaped object that flew by the window of that little craft that they were riding in. Neil took the Hasselblad camera that he had, put it up to the window and snapped this picture. Next picture, please. NASA Apollo 12. Roll 51, negative number 8, what is it, 8653, something like that. Now this is a good-sized object. This is several hundred feet in diameter that came up next to the lander, flew along beside them for a time. The guys in the Apollo crafts put their camera to the window and snapped the thing, and I've always jokingly said there were guys inside of this taking pictures of the NASA. We were photographing them, they were photographing us.
Okay. Now this caught my eye. In the book, he writes about his vision. This guy thinks he cracked something. Woman riding a bull appearing and speaking to him. When the red star of Regulus aligns just before dawn in the gaze of the Sphinx, a new knowledge shall come into the world. He also said some guy related to NASA told him that this is going to happen in Easter 2026. The problem, Regulus is a blue star, and it's also not visible in the sky from Giza right before dawn and exactly aligned with the gaze of the Sphinx. Exactly east during that time of the year. So what could it mean? In alchemy processes in Australia, mysticism were all intertwined. Metals, for example, are referenced by using the names of the planets. The alchemical I'm too, yeah, for this right now. Philosopher's Stone during the turning metals into gold and also understood the great work to achieve enlightenment. My guess was that it might refer to an alchemical, there I said it, substance or process, and what I found is that regulus in alchemy refers to purified form of metal. Examples are regulus of Venus, copper, regulus of iron. Okay, I don't know about that. That's a little beyond me. Let's see. Now you're probably really you could be totally right. Did some research on something. It's actually a stellar system for started on two pairs, which has surprising. First pair is white, blue, blah blah blah. simply has the date wrong. Yeah, but maybe why he thinks it'll be Easter in the year. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, it looks like shit.
Phenomenon behaved exactly like an old friend of the UFO investigators.
Green
Just right about this
fireballs.
strange phenomenon. A little digression is necessary. Between the end of Sign and the
Eyeballs over New Mexico.
before we get into Project Grudge, a little digression is necessary.
It's funny. On my camera, those things come up green when they streak by. Fleet of alien craft near nuclear reactor. Yeah, I've seen this. Dude, yeah, this one kind of gets me. Fucking 360p, give me a break. Yeah, this is old video though. Look at these things. Dude, that looks super legit. Even for the quality being so bad. I mean, it just flows. Oh, look, you can see shadows on the ground moving. Look at that. That, yeah, dude. That's some crazy shit right there. That's fucking legit as fuck right there. Excuse my language, but holy crap. Yeah, look at them. This is the way it come into view. I mean, it looks, yeah. Yep. 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 Oh, you know what? I'm gonna post a link. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and trying to grow this channel. So, view your channel. See, this is it right here. Share. Let's copy, paste. I check this out. The no amateur videos, photos, blurry dots. Okay. This out. That show spends tens of thousands. I think I'm gonna call it a night. Nobody was letting me or saying anything or giving me kind of interaction. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. So hopefully you enjoyed, and I'm gonna try to make the live streaming of the UFO captures more of a thing. I'm just gonna have to get a better camera again. Anyways, thanks for watching. I appreciate your support and have a good night.